Reading aloud with me. We're gonna read a chapter from Keep Calm and Cut Him Off. 13 Reasons to Go Silent on the Guys Who Reject or Break Up With You. Bruce Bryans. I would use this anybody who shows you that they don't appreciate you. I like this book. It shows you how to love yourself in a way, in a healthy way. We're reading chapter number 2. It's called Keeping Him Around Will Make You Accustomed to Low-Value Male Courtship Behaviors. You will come to expect it, and subconsciously you may even grow fond of it. Human beings are extremely adaptive creatures. Physically, we are wired and built to survive and even thrive in all manners of environments. While this may be textbook common sense knowledge to you, did you realize human beings are quite adaptive psychologically as well, even within the context of romantic relationships? If your self-worth is tied to a being with a particular guy or a type of guy, meaning that you're attached a lot of your personal happiness to having this person, having them in your life, you will habitually find ways to keep them in your life, no matter how bad they treat you. Your fear of being alone and rejected by a guy like this will compel you to sacrifice your standards and emotional well-being to keep him around. In this instance, subconsciously, you would rather be miserable with him than be alone. And it is this subconscious thought that will drive your behavior and make you do all sorts of seemingly irrational, self-destructive, and perhaps even manipulative things to keep him in your life. The major problems occurs if you make the mistake of allowing low-interested men to stay in your life for an extended period of time. If you perpetually entertain a guy like this, over time there's a real chance that you will become accustomed to the way he treats you, no matter how poorly. Because of the psychological, emotional, and/or physical benefits you gain from having him in your life, you will grow to become more and more dependent on his attention, regardless of how low quality and irregular this attention is. You will soon find yourself settling for his emotional scraps of romantic interest. If he does a really good job of sinking his claws into you, you will eventually grow fond of it, leading you to seek out the very same behaviors from the man you meet in the future. If this has never happened to you before, I am quite certain you have seen it happen to other women you know. Just like self-destructive habits, a toxic romance with the wrong guy can become hard to shake addiction, especially if a woman's aversion to being alone is more painful than her aversion to be used. This is why cutting ties and chasing contact with a man who began treating you poorly is so vitally important. It kills the whole process of you becoming addicted to that brand of guy and his attention, and gives you the space and distance you need to properly heal, reboot your system, and reassess your taste of man. If it's never happened to you before, you would be surprised at how easy is it to become accustomed to and even fond of a bad romance. In the right context, it doesn't take much for anyone to be seduced into a bad relationship and blinded by its harmful effects on them. For example, you may be at a very, very vulnerable spot in your life where you happen to meet a highly attractive and dangerous addictive self-worth supplier, the wrong guy with all the right moves. Most of us have had similar experiences like this before, where just like a highly addictive drug, all it takes is one or two torrid but toxic romances to make us expectant of, even addicted to a certain kind of people and their brand of affection. Don't give it in to the temptation that those romances and the men that supply them provide. The risk of you developing a taste for unsavory relationships is incredibly real. If you fail to cut contact with them as early as possible, in some cases it may take you a while to realize that a particular guy or a type of guy is like a drug to you and not the good kind. However, once you do come to your senses and realize that you have allowed a certain man, a certain type of man, to waste too much of your time and energy, pull the plug, kill the connection, and do everything in your power to change course. In summary, avoid the risk of unknowingly becoming a bad romance addict by refusing to entertain men who are good at making you feel good in the moment, but within whom there is no future. Chasing contact with your self-worth supplier is perhaps the best way to put yourself in a romantic rehab if you truly do want to escape a fun but ultimately unhealthy relationship. You will need all the space you can get in order to reassess your values, reevaluate your needs, and reestablish your personal standards for giving and receiving love from a man. I really like this guy, this chapter, and I like these little books that he created. I will advise you to buy the full book if you want to. As you can see, I'm just reading a small parts of it, and I'm just philosophizing on them, if I could say so. So I think what I like about this chapter here is that a lot of people, guys and girls, males and females, I'm just having several flashbacks for different people that I met, that they give themselves worth only when they're with someone. For example, I have a friend in Italy, and she valorizes herself only when she feels like she's valuable, only when she has or she is in a company of a male. No matter what male, no matter if he's abusing her, he's screaming, crying, it doesn't matter what's the male, old, ugly, scary, toxic, abusive, it doesn't matter. But if she have a male, she feels like she's already successful in life, and that she is worthy of whatever it is, of love, attention, that she's important, that she's successful in life. This friend of mine really look for these older guys that are financially stable, or I would say okay, not billionaires, but financially okay. However, in their personal life, it's absolute mess, and she will date them. Even some of them are married, and kind of subconsciously feel better than those guys. Like they treat her miserably, very abusively. But however, on one side, she needs to receive that attention that nourish her insecurities, and on the other side, she feels like she's better than them because she starts to see behind the curtains, like their faults, their defects, and all of that. I think that what he's talking about here is sadly true. I can see that really happen, that a lot of times in a lot of situations in life, girls start to see someone and they're not content in relationship. I could see that myself. I have been there too. You start to see someone and right away from the beginning they're late, they're not not respectful, they act like they take you for granted, they're never happy, they're never appreciating, there is never a positive vibe from this person. I just was seeing someone, there is always complaining, nagging, something negative. There is never a moment of joy. There is never a moment of excitement, of positivity. You start to see someone and you're right away busy listening about his heavy life. Poor guy, he suffers so much. And basically, a lot of us girls failing to be busy with what happened with this guy, or guys getting busy with what happened to the girl. Oh, she had a bad boyfriend, he treated her badly, and I understand why she's like that. She's treating me poorly, but she has good reasons why. So basically, when we start to see someone, there is always this narrowing of the bad relationship, bad father, bad mother, bad exes, that we hear from the beginning of when we meet someone. And then those bad stories make us accept some not very acceptable behaviors. Being late, well, this person was late, he just got out of jail, he's trying to learn to live life, I gotta be understanding, or whatever is the story. But there is always a story with people that does not treat you right immediately from the beginning. There is always some very mystical, very suffering story. And I don't know why, but this manipulation of I am suffering, I have such a hard, bad relationship, bad past, I got out of jail, my ex was violent, whatever you wanted. There is always my family. There is always a story, my ex. There is always a story that someone in the past disrespect this person or make them suffer, or some heartbreaking life story that somebody was sick, for example. This is a great manipulation tools, and usually those stories are put up front. I don't know why I'm flashing. I met somebody at the sauna at the gym the other day, and this person shared pretty shocking story about apology, forgive me, excuse me. So this person shared it was just me and him speaking Spanish, so it was kind of more one-on-one conversation because other people did not speak Spanish in the sauna. This male shared with me a story how a lady, he was thinking that he was helping a lady and give her some money to clean his house, and then they start to having some relations, and after they was not even dating, imagine. And after some times, I don't know, she was asking for more money, and then end up to a fight. where she was going with a knife kind to cut him, and he pushed the lady, and she called the police, and she filed a restraining order, and she sued him for abuse or something like that. And they sent him to jail, like they arrest him on the spot, and he ended up in jail. And then she had the restraining order against him, but she continued going to his place and visiting and calling him and going and knocking on the door and looking for his attention. What a story, you would say. Like, really, what? This happens. So it happens that people end up in jail when they are innocent. Unfortunately, this is our system. It's not perfect. And he was having a chat with me how hard it is to be in jail, knowing that you haven't abused anyone, and knowing that you haven't done anything wrong or something like that, on one side. But on the other side, for most of the girl will be like, oh, poor guy, he suffered, he was innocent and he went to jail. But the truth is that if you are intimate or you have a relations with a woman and you know that she wants relationship, and you are aware that you don't want to have a relationship with this lady, instead of dragging her along and like illusion her that this is a possibility by being intimate with her, you should honestly say what you want and be very clear about it. And if this person doesn't want the same thing, you have to be a man enough to walk away from it. If you're not willing to date a lady, you should not have a relations with her. If a lady is in a bad financial situation, you should not try to take advantage of her, even sexually. Like, why don't you go out with a lady that you like? Why can't you go out and enjoy a date? Why you want to drag around someone and use them for sex because you're financially better than them, and then act like a victim? So I'm very like tough as a lady. If you know me, guys, I share this story. Why? Because most of the ladies, when they hear this type of a story, they will be like, oh my goodness, poor guy. Oh, he suffers so much. He must be a nice person. He must be a good person or whatsoever. I will tell you, a good person, a stable male, and a male that has self-respect does not want to drag along in semi-relationship with ladies. Same thing about lady. I was seeing someone for a few months and I realized that this person was trying to drag me without actually dating me and without actually being my boyfriend, but was pushing me to become his girlfriend. Not the way he should be, because if somebody want to date you and want to be your boyfriend after 2 months, it's natural to have clear ideas. I like you, I enjoy the time you give me, I want you to be my girlfriend. And I realized with myself that a lot of us, me included, girls, younger girls or more mature ladies, because it's so hard to be alone. I suffer that. I know how difficult it is to be single and see all these perfect couples around, all in love and all that. And you're like, oh my goodness, nobody asked me out. All these people go on this bunch of Tinder dates. They don't even take care of their bodies, and they have a bunch of guys around that takes them out and all that. And all of those people hang in these semi-relationships or not real relationships just because they're afraid to be alone, or they have situation like somebody is very attractive, like this guy I was seeing, and very beautiful and charming and funny. And the time I spent with him physically, he was great. His company is funny, he's witty, I can joke, we can laugh very easy. However, after some time, I decided to take a break, and I wanted to feel if I am content in this interaction with this guy. And I realized that I would rather have him as a friend and not as a date, because I thought he was indolent in dating. He would never have clear plans, never really know what he wanted to do, never really confident. It's like every time he did something, it's like his big compromises coming out. Every time he see me, he would complain about the time he spent with me. And I was feeling that this person does not appreciate me. So if you guys listening this narrowing that I read with you, why I'm saying that, I think that when you start to date someone in the beginning, you want to be cool and you want to take it easy. Same with me, no much expectations. However, I think that you should have requirements about how and to whom you give your time. Because instead of seeing this guy, I could have read a book, for example. Yeah, I know it doesn't sound so romantic. I'm not gonna see the sunset or walk around the lake with a guy and hold hands, and no, it's not so romantic, but it's way more useful. And so instead of going out with him, I read a few books. I stopped going out with him and I read a few books, and I stopped being stressed about this non-clear communication. So here I wanna share a tip. Although this guy doesn't say it, but how you realize that you're not feeling appreciated. And this number one thing, I think for me, how a person treats your time. This is a big one for me. And you can laugh and you can think that I'm crazy. I think every girl has those big flags. One of the biggest flags for me is like if a person make a plan but is not clear what I mean. Okay, I'm coming to take you on a date 8:30. 8:15, then after sometimes around 8:05 he's texting you, I will be there at 8:30. Then at 8:30 he's like, I'm driving, I'm your way, I will be there in 10 minutes. Then at 8:45 he's like, I'm gonna be almost there. After I text, maybe we should cancel. And then after at 8:50 he was finally here after almost 35 minutes of delay. If you have a guy like that, I will tell you what's happening. With a person that is so flaky on being punctual, something that I realized happened inside of me, not of course clearly at the spot there. This person never addressed why he was late. If something happened to him, there was zero, I'm so sorry, I'm late, forgive me. Something happened, my dog was sick, my cat, my mom, my daughter, whatever it is. There was zero explanation and zero acknowledgement that this person is late. So not that I need explanation, not that I need apology, or I don't need you to acknowledge. We both know that you were late. However, this first appointment or any appointment that the guy treats you like that, deep inside of you, what's happening? You work, you're independent, you have other things to do. This ignoring that this person make you wait for 25 minutes, it just make me a little bit of disappointment. There would be a disappointment inside of you. And if you try to stick around a person who is disrespectful with your time, you slowly is going to accumulate this bitterness because you have other things to do in life. If somebody can't be punctual with a little thing like your time, believe it or not, they are not going to be punctual with anything else in life. And I will tell you why. A man who does not appreciate your time and does not care to be there on time doesn't deserve your appointment, and doesn't deserve your time, and doesn't deserve your date, believe it or not. I created a rule for myself, 15 minutes of a grace period. If you text after the 5 minutes. If you're not there within 15 minutes, not only you don't have an appointment with me, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to have another appointment with you. I'm not going to chat with you. And I will tell you why. This little red flag about time should be a big one. Going on with years, I had a friend in Italy, we had this conversation, and we talk about it. It was just a friend. I was like, I'm worried if you 5 minutes. And then I knew him after we had a chat. He's like, yeah, I want to make it on time, but then I started to get ready and I want to fix my hair. Then I like to change so this friend of mine, every time we went out somewhere he was a colleague from the university, he was always late. But after these first few appointments that he was late, we talked and he explained me exactly what he's experiencing, what's going on, why he's late. So I'm not worried anymore. So from this moment on, for the next years that I see him, I knew that I would, if we have appointment at 5, we'll be at 5:15. And we're going to meet between 5:15 and 5:30. Simply because he can't manage to do it. He have this anxious, like getting ready is a thing for him. And this was perfectly fine after we had a conversation. But if a person is avoiding to address that, they would be avoiding you and neglecting you and ignoring other things that are important. I think respecting other person's time is the number one way to show that this person is valuable to you. And when I say respecting other person's time, when I have an appointment and I'm late, I'm going to acknowledge that. Not because you need me to say, hey, I know I'm late 15 minutes, not for you. But I respect you and I respect the time that you give me, and I want to show you that I understand that I was not punctual, and I want you to give me again time. And I want you to understand me, and I want you to know why I was late. That's why I'm going to make the effort to explain that. However, when a guy treats your time as nothing and is late 25 minutes with zero explanation, this should be a pretty solid red flag, and I will tell you why. Because the further on, when you see a person that neglects your time, it makes it difficult to organize your life and to organize your own time, because you're hooked there waiting on someone that you don't know when they're going to show up, if they're going to show up, what time they're going to show up. This simple thing itself destroy your feminine energy. You're being smooth. You're being ready, you're being excited to be beautiful for someone to meet, to wait for them to pick you up, It destroys this beautiful tenderness of the lady that you are. And with time, this lack of punctuality is gonna make you bitter and angry and upset and not excited anymore, not happy, you're not gonna even know if this person is gonna show up at one point, if these delays are so big. And this is exactly what happened to me. So the sad part is true. What he's saying in this chapter is that you get used to this, believe it or not. Yes, you adapt to this. This is true. And you're saying to yourself, oh, it's just a little thing. And you do not stand for punctuality. I personally did not stand back then. And this is why I cut the guy off, by the way. But however, if you are allowing a person like that around you, the truth is that you really get accustomed to that. You get used to that. And then subconsciously, you think that everybody is treated this way and that this is normal. And the fact is that, do you know what symbiosis? People talk about symbiosis when they talk about twins children. Well, this symbiosis happens with your partner or with the guy that you date, believe it or not. So if the guy is a flaky person like this, you kind of start tolerate little by little by little. And as they say, whoever you surround yourselves with, this is how you become. Very slowly giving time to someone like that, you become okay. It doesn't matter. It matters. Your time matters. And if a person is not the way it's supposed to be from the beginning, I really believe that you should cut him off. And not because I say so, but because in the long term you are going to see other situations where this person is going to neglect you and be late. Being late have a spiritual thing, a spiritual value, or spiritual lack. I will call it spiritual defects. Being late in life, it's a bad thing. I will tell you what I discovered about this person. He was not only late for appointments, but he was late in his development. Yes, believe it or not, people that are successful in their business, in their job, and they take care of their bodies, in their health, in the people that they let close, which doesn't have to be a lot, but some of them are great people out there, and you're gonna love them, and you're gonna have these great positive vibes with them and share beautiful moments even from distance. They are not late. Their time is well organized, their time is structured, they will be on time. They will come and be precise. I have 3 hours, it's yours, what you like to do. I have 1 hour, I have 3 hours, I have 2 hours. I'm gonna give you the best I can in these 2 hours. However, people that are like that with time, they are delayed in their development, in their spiritual development, in their manners, in their educations, in their everything. There is something about spirituality and being late, and I will tell you, we have a say in Europe, people are punctual not for you and not because of you, but because of themselves. So I'm just thinking, I used to be going to this teacher of mine. I was studying mathematics in my first master in mathematics, informatics, programming, and comportamental sociology for 4 years. And the test was mathematics. And so I was taking classes with this professor, and I was late. And every time I was late, because my father had a farm and I had to milk the goats. So that takes time. And I couldn't milk the goats while they were in the mountain. I have to wait for the goats to go back to their place. And this would cause me to be late. And sometimes 1, 2, 3 minutes. And I remember the professor would always be so upset. Annie, why you late? She was like, you don't respect my time. So I learned with her to be early. And I slowly developed the concept of being on time. So being on time, it's also show that you're well in life, that your life is well organized, that you're successful. Person that pretend to be successful will always be late. Person that is successful could be late, but they will address it right away. And the moment that they are there with you, you're gonna have the maximum of time. Compared to people that are late for appointment or to see you or whatever, that their lives are not organized and they have a bad secrets to hide, they will be late, they will not address it, and the whole thing will be a big mess, a big mess. So this is true. If you allow people around yourself that does not appreciate your time, they do not and will not appreciate you. And with this last bitter experience, forgive me, that I had, I realized that not only this person was late and punctual and all that, but he was unable to see the positive in me. I don't know if he saw anything positive, although he sent me only these negative, nagging, complaining messages. Well, he had nothing to offer. So if you are in a relationship or situationship, I don't break up with the guy. I just said I need some space on my own. And I realize in American culture, it's like a big no-no. However, he went crazy when I said I want a space. But taking time on your own and trying to understand and see, I was so nice. I'm so great. I'm so sweet. I'm so easygoing. This person doesn't deserve me. I should get a better surrounding. I better be alone. But it's hard to be alone. So I hope you enjoy this book. You enjoy my narrows. Thank you guys for being here. And you can get the whole book if you want to online on Amazon. Bye bye.